have already tinkered with the coin mechanism from that video arcade machine that I got for free, and I'm not sure if I've put that video out yet, but I have the bill mechanism. And so I thought maybe we'd take a little bit of a look at this. I had to tinker with it a little bit, but I got it working. Not really much to it. In fact, let's see here, I think, yeah, okay, so that, there's some pins in the way. But if you can see, let's see if I can get some good light on that. If you can see in there, there's just a couple of belts right here and some little LEDs, and they scan the bill to detect if it's genuine. And in fact, there's well, I see a date stamp on here. This one is from 2002, and they make different firmware versions on this. So this one does not have the firmware to read the latest $5 bills. It will read some of the other bills, but that's in 2008, I think, is when they made the $5 bills bigger. And so you can snap this together, and then I had this apart earlier, and sorry, I had something pop up my screen, the little motor in there, the little circuit boards, and you can actually pull this board out, and that's where you would upgrade the firmware to another version. There's really not much to look at in there. But what was interesting is trying to get it operational. There's a little bit of information out there about this thing, but not a ton. And so I wound up, I found it like a 2-page PDF that gave me what the wiring diagram was. And let me show you a little bit about that. While I'm putting this back together, on the left here is a board that I bought from AliExpress a long time ago. And I don't even think it ever made it into a mailbag video, but this is... this takes an ATX power supply and turns it into -12, +12, +5, and +3.3 volts. And I just printed this little enclosure because I was doing some work on my 3D printer, so I needed to tweak some things. But you know, so many channels make bench power supplies out of ATX power supplies. I didn't really feel like I needed to do one for my channel. In my escape rooms, a lot of times, and maybe I'll put a picture up, but in my escape rooms, I would take one ATX power supply and use it to power the entire room, and through like a little distribution system. But the main reason why I have this out as opposed to my bench power supply is because the ratings on this thing use 5 volts and 12 volts at the same time, and I figured out later that I didn't necessarily need both of those, and let me show you why. Let me get the biggest ATX power supply I own. It's just ridiculous. I had it in one of my servers. So I'm going to power this thing up. Now, if you've never messed around with the ATX power supply to bench power supply modifications, you'll know that you need to put a little bit of a load across the thing in order to get it to fire up. And let's see, I think I have that off. You need to put a little bit of a load across the power supply to get the thing to power up, and there is a little resistor under that thing, under the cover here, that makes that happen. So I'm going to turn this back off, and what we need to do first is hook up the orange, let's slide the power supply out of the way. We need to hook the red up to 12 volts and the orange, 12 volts positive, the orange up to ground. It's a little loose down there. We'll see if we have a decent enough connection. So then we can put this wiring harness in, and that's what we need to get started. This is a weird wiring harness. There we go. Got a first try. That was the first time I've gotten a first try. So let's see. Yep. Okay, so we've got some red lights there, and it goes through a little power up sequence, and then now it blinks green. Let me grab a bill. Okay, I grabbed my wallet, and so you can see that if I put the dollar bill in here, it will read it and should accept it. It reads it and it just drops it down there. Now it will not be able to read a 50, so I'm going to drop that in, and it's going to kick it right back out to me. Now it's pretty neat, and so it has another feature, which is when I was talking about the 5 volts and the 12 volts, I'm going to power this off just so I don't short anything out. But if I were to take the yellow and put it to 5 volts. And the green, I'm just going to put it to the other ground. I need to tighten that one terminal up. So if I put 5 volts here, you'll see something different happens. So I'm going to boot it up.